and acted like they owned the very air you were breathing. That was my boss. His name was Richard. To everyone else, he was the genius CEO, the man in the expensive navy suits and red ties, the one people whispered about in the hallways. But to me, he was nothing but a tyrant who built his empire on other people's work, especially mine. From the very first day, Richard made it clear I was beneath him. If something went wrong in the company, he made sure I was the one blamed. If something went right, it was his brilliance. I can't count the number of times he called me out in front of the entire staff, belittling me like I was a child. And yet, every night, I stayed late at my desk, redoing the presentations, fixing the mistakes, making sure the company didn't collapse under his arrogance. One night, while working late, I passed by a meeting room with the lights still on. I wasn't expecting anyone to be there, but inside, I saw Richard. He wasn't reviewing business plans. He wasn't preparing strategies. No. He was leaning far too close to one of our client's assistants, whispering things no married man should ever say. He didn't know I was there, and I didn't interrupt. Instead, I quietly raised my phone and hit record. I knew it was dangerous, but part of me felt maybe one day this would matter. And it did. A few weeks later, we had the biggest client presentation of the year. Richard strutted into that boardroom like a king returning to his throne. But the presentation was a disaster. Slides went missing, numbers didn't add up, and the clients were furious. For once, Richard couldn't point the finger at me. The board demanded answers, and Richard's arrogance only made it worse. Then, one of the board members looked at me. Is there something we don't know? My hands shook, but I pulled out my phone. I showed them the recording. Richard's face drained of color as his own words echoed in that. Silent room. The board members exchanged cold glances. The clients were disgusted. And just like that, the king was stripped of his crown. Richard was fired on the spot. But here's the thing about people like him. They never believe they can lose. Richard started his own company within months. He bragged all over town about his comeback, about how he was going to destroy the very people who betrayed him. At first, it looked like he was winning. He rented a flashy new office, hired staff, through networking events. But the truth has a way of catching up. Clients remembered how he treated them. His own employees whispered about his arrogance, one by one. The contracts dried up, and then came the lawsuits, unpaid bills, broken promises. Investors who wanted their money back. Richard went from driving luxury cars to showing up in wrinkled suits, begging for meetings that no one wanted to attend. The man who once stood taller than everyone else was now hunched over, carrying the weight of his own lies. I'll never forget the day I walked past his old office building. I had been promoted, finally respected for the work I had always done. And there he was across the street, staring at a foreclosure notice taped to the window of his failed company. For the first time, I didn't see a tyrant. I didn't see a genius. I just saw a broken man who had built his empire on arrogance and watched him collapse under the weight of his own pride. Richard used to say to me, "You're nothing without me." But in the end, it was him who became nothing. So here's my question to you. Was it karma? Was it just life giving him what he deserved? Or was it simply justice served on a silver platter? I'll let you decide. Because sometimes revenge doesn't need a plan. Sometimes you just need to step back and let karma fire them twice. If you've ever seen karma catch up with someone, share your story in the comments. And if you want more true stories like this, don't forget to subscribe, because trust me, what's coming next is even wilder.